All right, so we're going to start off with a bit of a warm up, and you don't want to stretch cold muscles, but we're not going to do anything strenuous. We just want to move around a little bit to get the blood flowing. So let's start off with the neck, and we're going to take a chin to chest and bring it back up to neutral, and chin to chest and bring it back up to neutral. A couple more, chin to chest, bring it back up to neutral. One more time, chin to chest, and bring it back up to neutral. Good. Now gently turn your head to the right, bring it to the center, turn it to the left, bring it to the center. And just keep doing that gently side to side. And you're just warming up through the neck. We don't want to push it too hard. Just take it as far as it wants to go. Let's do one more each direction. Good. All right, now take your ear to your shoulder, just side to side. And you want to try to make sure that you're, oh, there's an ant. Really? I played this earlier and there was not one ant. And let's take it side to side. Good, and now hold it to the side and then gently roll it through the front and stop when it comes to the other side. So I'm not tipping backwards at all, just forward. Sitting up nice and tall, drawing the navel in just gently. Let's take it one more each direction. And bring it back up to neutral. Good. Let's go into your shoulders a little bit. Let's roll the shoulders up and back. Really trying to focus on moving the shoulders. The arms are moving because you're moving the shoulders. Good. Now switch the direction. Take it forward. Good. Let's do one more. And release that. Good. All right. Let's take it into our upper back and our chest a little bit. So I want you to give yourself a hug and then open it up. And then switch the arm on top. Give yourself a hug and open it up. Give yourself a hug and open it up. Good. Let's do one more each side. And then open it up, and then hug, and open it up. Good. Roll it out. Let's take the arm up, and straight up. Really trying to reach from the shoulder and from your rib cage. Straight up. Good. One more. And now take it a little bit forward. Still up, but forward. Good. Breathing out, reach. Good. Let's do one more each arm. Good. And now take it across, like corner to corner. Good. One more each arm. Good. And just now take it straight out in front of you a little bit. Breathing. Good. Now reach across. Adding a little bit of waist and back into it now. Again, only going as far as you're comfortable. We're just warming up through the spine and the waist. Good. Let's do one more each side. Good. And now reach it more over your head sideways. If this bothers your shoulder, bring it to the front more. Try to keep your bottom still. So we're working from the waist up still. Breathe out. Good. Let's do, starting here, one more each side. reach. Good. Now let's roll the torso around. Trying to keep the bottom nice and still, so we're still working from the waist up. And gently come to a stop and go the other way. Breathing out as you come around. Let's do one more. And bring it back to center. Good. Now if you're on a chair, I want you to just put your hands on your lap. We're going to go into a cat-cow. So we're going to lean forward with the heart and then tuck the chin and roll it up. Lean forward with the heart, tuck the chin and roll it up. Now if you're on the floor, you can take your feet out a little bit, grab behind the thighs, and lead with the heart and then round it up. Pull the navel in, inhale, exhale, round it up. Let's do a couple more. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Good. Coming up to sitting. All right, we're going to go into your legs a little bit. If you're on a chair, you're going to take your leg up and over the stool and bring it back in. So imagine I'm sitting on a chair and you're taking your leg out and in. All right. If you're on the ground, we're going to lay down. Grab hold of your legs underneath and just rotate the hips around. Put your head down. So if you're seated, you're over the stool, back in, alternating the legs. If you're laying down, take the circles the other way. Good. Now put your feet down if you were laying down. Open and close the legs. So same thing if you're seated, just open and close the legs as far as you're comfortable. Just working through the hips and the inner thighs and outer thighs just to warm them up a bit. Now if you're laying down and you want to go a little deeper, you can take the legs up off the floor. Good, one more. All right, feet down if you had them elevated. All right, lift one leg up. If you're on the chair, they're a little lower. Roll your ankle around. If you're laying down, take it a little bit higher. And then go the other way. And now point and flex the ankle. Good, release that. Same thing on the other side, roll the ankle. Switch the direction. And now point and flex. Good, and release that. All right, if you're laying down, come on up to sitting. And we're just going to finish with our hands and our toes. So if you're sitting on the floor, take your feet out in front of you a little bit. And we're going to just spread the toes and the fingers and then scrunch them. Spread and scrunch. Spread and scrunch. Couple more. Spread and scrunch. And one more. And scrunch. Good. Shake it out. Hopefully you feel a little bit warmed up. I had mentioned before that, you know, we're not moving much, so it's better to have some warm clothes on. All right, so we are going to take our journey into Advent, and I am going to read from the book of Luke. And I'm going to try to follow along a little bit with church's theme as well. So we This past Sunday, we lit the first Advent candle, which was for hope. And the theme was untangling our fears. So that is really appropriate for the beginning of this Luke story. And it actually begins with the birth of John the Baptist being foretold. So with Advent, we're preparing and for the birth of Christ. But we all know that John the Baptist later says, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord," So I thought that I'm going to start this, and this is the very first chapter of Luke. It talks about the birth of John the Baptist. So I'm going to read a little bit. We'll stretch. I'll read a little bit, and then we'll stretch. In the time of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah who belonged to the priestly division of Abijah. His wife Elizabeth was also a descendant of Aaron. Both of them were upright in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commandments and regulations blamelessly. But they had no children because Elizabeth was barren, and they were both well along in years. Once when Zechariah's division was on duty and he was serving as priest before God, he was chosen by lot, according to the custom of the priesthood, to go into the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And when the time for the burning of incense came, all the assembled worshipers were praying outside. Then an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right side of the altar of incense. When Zechariah saw him, he was startled and was gripped with fear. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah. Your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to give him the name John. He will be a joy and delight to you, and many will rejoice because of his birth, for he will be great in the sight of the Lord. He is never to take wine or other fermented drink, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit even from birth. Many of the people of Israel he will bring back to the Lord their God. He will go on before the Lord in the spirit and the power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the righteous, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord." So as we continue to stretch, think about Zechariah and what he's feeling being visited by that angel. All right, so we are going to go into a cat-cow again. So if you're seated, you're going to do it the same way you did before. You're going to lean forward and you're going to round back. You're going to lean forward and you're going to round back. Now, if you're on the floor, I'm going to switch out to all fours. And you want your weight centered, and you want your back flat to start off with in cow. And I'm kind of gripping the floor a little bit here. And you're going to let your back arch a little bit. Inhale, exhale, round your spine up. Inhale, flat. Exhale, round. And I really want you to focus on the rounding. Pulling the navel in towards your spine to give your lower back a stretch. Let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale, hold that cat stretch. Shoulders down. You can bring your chin to your chest a little bit if you're on all fours. Either way, you can bring your chin to your chest. And just breathe. And we're going to hold each stretch for 30 seconds to a minute. We're not going to hold them super long. If you feel like you need to move around a little bit, if holding still is too intense, go ahead and do that. So you can sway around a little bit if you need to. Good, and we're going to release that. All right, the next one is thread the needle. I'm going to show you, because I'm already down here, I'm going to show you this version first. So you're going to take your arm through the hole here like you're threading a needle, and you're going to come down. Now this is where a pillow or a yoga block, if it's too far to put your head on the ground, you can have a pillow instead. If you're seated, bring the arm across your body, take the other arm underneath and give that arm a hug. Now you can stay here. If you want to deepen it, you can lean forward and you'll feel that stretch in your shoulder deepen. So go as far as you're comfortable. Let the rest of your body just relax. Gently come out of that, and you're going to go into the other side. So if you're sitting, arm across, give that arm a hug. Make sure you don't grab your elbow or your wrist, you're like at your forearm. And then if you want to lean down, if you're on all fours, thread through the other side. And if you're on all fours, your bottom is up more. And slowly release out of that. And we're going to come to sitting. If you were on the ground, come up to sitting. All right, so I'm kind of working my way down. I'm going to save the neck for last, but I'm working in through the shoulders and the chest and the arms. So we're going to stretch the chest and the biceps next. So I'm going to take my hands behind me. So if you're in a chair, you can scoot a little bit forward. Put your hands behind you, and my hands are flat on the ground, all right? And I'm going to roll my shoulders back, and you're going to feel the stretch through your chest and through your biceps. You might feel it into your wrists as well. Make sure you're more lifting from your chest rather than pushing back into your hands, okay? And that'll relieve your wrists. We are going to stretch the wrists as well. Make sure you keep your head neutral, that you don't let your chin tuck upward or downward. And just breathe. This is a really important stretch to do. We're always leaned over our computers. We're leaned over our tablets, our phones. So our chest muscles especially get really tight and shortened. A lot of shoulder issues come because your chest is tight here and it goes into your rotator cuff. Good, and release that and roll it out. All right, so that was the bicep. So now we're going to do the tricep, and we're going to do one arm at a time. I'm going to kind of angle myself so you can see me sideways. I'm going to take my arm like I'm going to pat myself on the back. Take it up as high as you can. You're trying to get that elbow toward the ceiling. And then I'm going to deepen it a little bit by pressing it a little bit more. So you should feel that right in here. Watch your neck on this one, that you don't tense your neck up. Keep it just in line. You don't want to tuck your chin or tighten it up. And just breathe. Make sure you're breathing through the stretches. Good, and release that. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Reach like you're going to pat yourself on the back. Elbow up toward the ceiling as much as you can. Press it if you want. Now, if that causes you pain to press it, then don't. You can just have it without doing the press. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. And go ahead and release that and roll it out. All right, so we're working our way down our arms, so we're going to go into your wrists and your fingers. So I want you to put your palm out and then kind of flex your wrists so that your fingers are pointing downward. Relax the shoulder, and then I'm going to take my other hand and I'm grabbing most, I'm not just grabbing the fingertips, I'm grabbing most of the finger and I'm just pulling back till you get a stretch through your wrists. So this is the carpal tunnel stretch. Relax the shoulders, make sure your elbow's not locked, and just breathe through this one. Now if you do have carpal tunnel issues, be gentle. None of these should hurt. And now gently flip it so that your fingers are down, your rings are pointing outward. Grab from the knuckles and pull back, and you're going to feel it here on top, and this one's going to shoot through. If you've got tendonitis in your elbow at all, you might feel it go up your elbow. And just breathe. And again, it shouldn't hurt, so ease up if it's too much. Good. Shake that one out. Same thing on the other side. Palm up, then fingertips down, and then gently pull them back a little bit more. Straightening out that arm, but not locking the elbow. Good, and flip that over, and then gently pull from the knuckles back. Shake it out. All right, I'm going to stick with this hand. I'm going to turn my palm back up again, and I'm gently going to pull back one finger at a time, pulling the whole finger. Make sure you grab the whole finger, not just the tip, and release that. We're not going to hold these for very long, just a little bit, just enough to pull it back to get the stretch through the fingers. And then the thumb. Good, shake that hand out. Other side, palm up, pinky back. Again, grab that whole finger. Keeping the knuckle relaxed, that you don't have that knuckle locked out. Good, and finishing with the thumb. And shake it out. All right. Zechariah asked the angel, "How can I be sure of this? I am an old man and my wife is well along in years." The angel answered, "I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to tell you this good news. And now you will be silent and not be able to speak until this day happens, because you did not believe my words, which will come true at their proper time." Meanwhile, the people were waiting for Zechariah and wondering why he stayed so long in the temple. When he came out, he could not speak to them. They realized he had seen a vision in the temple, for he kept making signs to them, but remained unable to speak. So first, Zechariah is afraid, and now he is not believing, and I can't say I blame him. But to not be able to talk now, that's a long time. All right, so let's go into our lower body. So if you're in the chair, I want you to bring your feet together, and they can be out in front of you as far as is comfortable. And if you're seated on the floor, you can have them out. The closer they are in, the more intense this is, all right? And either way, I want you to keep your chest up and your shoulders back, and you're just gonna lean forward. So even if you're in the chair, you can put your hands on your thighs and just lean forward. And keep the chin up and the shoulders back, so making a nice straight line from your crown of your head to your tailbone. Like I say, more like a frog than a turtle. So you don't want to make a turtle shell, you want to make a frog straighter back. And if you're on the floor and this is too intense to have your feet here, you can separate your legs out if that feels better. So you should feel this in your inner thighs and in your hips. If you're in the chair and you want to slide down a little bit and put your elbows into your knees, you can do that. You can slide down the chair a little bit. And if you feel comfortable in the stretch, if you want to, you can bring your chin to your chest, and you can lower down a little bit more. Keep breathing. And roll that up gently. Good. Now if you're in the chair, you're going to have one leg bent and the other leg is extended straight. If you're seated on the ground, you're going to bend your knee to the side. And you're going to flex your foot, and you're just going to lean rib cage toward that thigh of the straighter leg. And you want to try to pull your toes towards your shin. So I'm going to show this one on the chair. So I'm leaning forward this way. And I'm pulling those toes up toward my shin, but my heel's on the ground, okay? So you should be getting a stretch down the back of this leg, this straight leg. Now, if you're on the ground and you can reach the toes to pull them back, you can pull them back. Good, and roll that up. Now, if you're seated on a chair, put your hand on your thigh and you're gonna lift up from the other side. If you're on the ground, you can put the hand on the ground. Shoulders down, breathe. So if you're in the chair, you're here. If you're on the ground, you're here. Really make sure you breathe with this one, that you don't hold your breath. Good, and release that. And we're gonna switch legs. So if you're seated in the chair, one knee's bent, other leg is straight. Lean rib cage toward the thigh, reaching that arm down the leg as far as you're comfortable. If you're on the ground and you can pull those toes, go ahead. Just make sure you don't bend the knee in order to pull the toes. and release that. And again, hand can be on the thigh or on the ground, and lift up from the rib cage. Relax the shoulder. Breathe. So getting a nice stretch down the side of the body here. And release that. Good. All right, if you're seated on the floor, I want you to take your legs out, and you're going to slide through the center here. If you're on the chair, you're going to have your legs here, and you're going to slide down this way. If you're on the chair, though, I don't want you to drop your head way down. I want you to keep your back flat. And just breathe. If you can touch the floor, you can bring your hands to the floor. So only go as deep as you're comfortable. You don't want to be dangling though, so you want either your hands on your legs or definitely touching the ground. And once you're comfortable, if you want to round over more, you can. Go ahead and roll up gently. I'm going to read the last part of this. When his time of service was completed, he returned home. After this, his wife Elizabeth became pregnant and for 5 months remained in seclusion. "The Lord has done this for me," she said. "In these days he has shown his favor and taken away my disgrace among the people." So as we stretch the neck, I want you to think about the journey that both Zechariah and Elizabeth are on in this chapter. Next week we will hear about Mary's foretold pregnancy of Jesus. All right, so I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and I want you to take one arm down, and then I want you to drop your ear to your shoulder the opposite side. And only take it as far as is comfortable. Now, if you want to deepen it, you can take your hand and gently pull a little bit. And you should feel the stretch through the top of the neck, or side of the neck, top of the shoulder. And just breathe. Good, and now let your chin drop forward like you're looking towards your armpit. And that stretch is going to go a little bit more to the back. And if holding your head bothers you, you don't have to do that. You can just keep your hand down by your side. And now take it back ear to shoulder, and then I'm going to take it upward just a little bit. And it's going to come a little bit to the front. Keep breathing. Good, and then release it and let it come to the center for a second. And then we're going to take the ear to the shoulder on the other side. Release that opposite arm away. And if you want to deepen it, you can deepen it. Breathe. Relax the shoulders. Good, and now I'm going to turn my head, looking toward the armpit more. Keep breathing. Take it back ear to shoulder. And then you can gently turn it the other way if that feels okay to do. Good, and take it back ear to shoulder, release the arm, and then roll it to the front, chin to chest. Roll the shoulders back. You can stay here, or if you want to deepen it, you can take both hands and gently push the head down a little deeper. Release, open the shoulder blades to deepen the stretch to the upper back and the neck. And release that and bring the head up to neutral. Good, and we're just going to finish with a very short meditative period. You can stay seated. If you want to lay down, you can lay back down. Hands in your lap, shoulders back and down. You can close your eyes if you want, and I just want you to bring your focus to your breath. Big inhale. Pause for a second, and then an even deeper exhale, trying to release all the air out of your lungs. With every exhale, I want you to let your body release more, let it relax more, release the tensions and the stresses out. And as you breathe, just take this couple of moments to contemplate what we heard through the scriptures and what we know is coming in the weeks ahead. Bring your focus back to your breathing. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Just waking your body up enough to take you out of the meditative state, but keeping that sense of relaxation and peace and calm. When you're ready, you can open up your eyes. And let's finish with a couple breaths. Big inhale and exhale. And one more inhale and exhale. Thank you for joining me.